Hey everybody, it's Shalonda, your resident teacher, fashionista, and boutique owner. So today I want to come and talk to you guys and give some tips for our brand new teachers. So these tips aren't just for teachers, but anyone really going into the education field for the first time. So I went to some of my teacher or educator friends and I said, send me some advice that you would give to a new educator. And y'all, they text me a bunch of stuff. I wrote it up in a blog over on shiboutique.com. It's about 12 different pieces of advice, but I'm just going to give you about 5 today that are some good nuggets. So let me get right into it, y'all. The first one, y'all, and it's so important, is to practice self-care. Listen, if you can't take care of yourself, you cannot be there for your students, nor can you be there for your colleagues, y'all. It's so important. Myself, I hate taking time off because time off takes work. I'm not one of them teachers, I always like, oh, I'm going to have my lesson plans prepped and all that, but I don't always do that at the beginning of the year like I'm supposed to. So when I want to take time off, then it takes me more time to take time, right? But y'all, the job is so rewarding, but it's also extremely difficult. And sometimes we just have to take that day off, and you maybe aren't even physically ill or like feeling sick, but you're feeling mentally drained. And we call those mental health days. If you got them, take them. If you need them, take them. You're going to feel better when you have that time. The other part of that is not just about always taking days off, y'all. If you just need to have outlets outside of your job, make sure that you are doing that. You deserve that, and you will be a better teacher and a better co-worker for your education colleagues as well, y'all. So the second thing that I wanted to talk about is to learn your students' preferred name. Y'all, your students come, whatever their name is, even if you cannot pronounce it, ask them again. They'll tell you. Ask them until you get it right. Y'all, we done had kids and they done gave us a whole totally different name. Gave us initials. If that's what they prefer to be called, we're going to respect that, and we're going to call them by those names as long as it's respectful. When you get to working with older kids, sometimes they can have street names. Most of the times they won't give you their street names, but sometimes they will, and you have to be careful with that. But if it's not a street name, meaning if it's not related to anything that is going to be possibly like gang related or have them in trouble, by all means call them by what they prefer to be called. The next thing, y'all, is to minimize downtime. This is one of my own personal mantras. I like to use my teaching time and use it up to the full. I like to have kids working until the bell ring, y'all. It eliminates a lot of the riffraff that can come in, and it just keeps them busy. What I find is that kids or students, I work with young adults, and they appreciate when you have them working the whole time. It keeps them busy. It has the time go by. It keeps them engaged. They deserve to have an engaged teacher in an engaged classroom. You're not going to always be like, oh, we're doing something all the. There's going to be times where they are working independently or where they get done early. But as much as you can, try to minimize that downtime. It's going to help you, and it's going to also help to keep confusion down, y'all. Another thing that one of my educator friends said was like, kids who can do well will do well. And if they cannot, if they're struggling to do well, then it's our job to figure out why. Now, y'all, I'm going to just say this. There are some people who think when kids aren't doing well, it's always the kid's fault. It's always the family's fault. And there are spaces to talk about that, what the kid isn't owning up to or what the family isn't doing. But really, y'all, we have no control over what's happening outside these kids' lives. All we have control over is what we can do in our classroom, and we can keep getting better at our own practice. So you came into the job knowing that there were going to be a bunch of different type of kids, and they will have different types of abilities and challenges, and it's your job as the practitioner to figure that out to the best of your abilities and not to give up on these kids. Listen, it ain't always going to be great, and it's not always going to be hard, but it's your job to keep trying to figure that out in conjunction with your colleagues. Okay, guys? And one of the last ones I want to say is don't reinvent the wheel. There are a lot of resources out there for educators. There are a lot of seasoned educators, such as the ones who are giving us these tips, that will provide you with tips and resources, especially if you're working with a good team, y'all. You do not have to get up in there and figure every single solitary thing out. The Googles is your friend. Like I said, seasoned educators, your EAs and paraprofessionals. Listen, your administrator, there are people who are willing to help you and figure these things out. Also, there are other sites sort of like Teachers Pay Teachers and things like that that will just spark your creativity. So sometimes it's just like you're thinking about where you need to go with this or with a lesson, and you just need that little idea or spark to get you on your way, y'all. You don't have to reinvent everything. Teaching has been going on since the dawn of time, so you got this. So anyway, y'all, I just wanted to come and just give our new educators and people going into the education field some tips, some encouragement, and I just went to my educator friends. They are teachers, they are social workers, they are school psychs, they are education assistants or paraprofessionals where you may be from, and they are rooting for you guys. We are glad you're coming to the field. If you have any questions for me, please leave them in the comment. I'm happy to answer whatever I can for you. But good luck and have a great, blessed school year.